Hey guys, MCU Collector here with a new video, and this one is the Retro Spider-Man Wave, the Hasbro Marvel Legends series. So this is not yet in stores. Online retailers do not have this yet, so don't go looking. I'll include pre-order links down in the description box below, but just know that I did overpay for this. These are not readily available. You won't just go and find it. Just be patient. I have absolutely zero patience, zero, and then especially with a Spider-Man Wave on the retro card for the animated series that got me into loving Marvel. I couldn't wait. I couldn't. So here is the new super poseable action figure of Spider-Man. So super poseable meaning new articulation compared to the Spider-Man figures that we have, and I will do a comparison with some of them so you guys can see it. But look at that card. It is absolutely a beauty. It is a throwback to the Spider-Man the Animated Series action figure line by Toy Biz. That's why you get the old Marvel Comics logo up there. You have the Spider-Man Animated Series logo. The figures, however, are not based on the show. Let's clear that out. They are not based on the show. They just use the card back to kind of do that throwback retro wave style. So that's what's really cool. Here on the back of the package, you see very similar to those action figure lines as well. You see the other figures. It says also look for, and then you have all the figures in this particular wave. Same thing with those Toy Biz figures. It would have them all kind of lined up, and it would also show like the next wave of figures, so you know what's going to be coming out. Because I used to hunt for that all the time. It's like, okay, which ones are going to be coming out? I gotta see. So it was always exciting for me. Here we have the bio. It says Spider-Man bitten by a radioactive spider. Peter Parker now possesses all the arachnids attributes. He's the amazing Spider-Man, and you can see what other little feature that each figure comes with, like a swappable head. So really cool. Let's get this opened up. And even though it is the retro card and I like to keep them on card, this particular set that I have now I will be opening later on with my pre-orders. I will have another set to hang up on the wall, but let's get this thing opened up right now. Okay, and there is the Spider-Man figure out of the package, and my goodness, this is a good figure. Wow, the new articulation is really something else. It basically uses the same articulation from the 12-inch Spider-Man, but this one is just much more agile, and you could just do all kinds of awesome things. So it is really cool. So in terms of accessory, he comes with an additional interchangeable head with the different lens lengths. You can see these ones are squinted down a little bit, not a whole lot. The figure itself comes with whip hands already on the figure, and then he comes with an additional set of fist hands. Unfortunately, no web wall crawling hands, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. So the Spider-Man figure is awesome. Let's get in for a closer look. Okay, so an up close look at the Spider-Man figure, and it is fantastic. The paint apps are great. The web lines are all very straight and looked very good. However, I have one little issue on mine. You can see a little bit of red chip paint away there, so you get the blue. And then here on the web lines, it doesn't quite line up perfectly right there on that first portion. Not an issue, but throughout the rest of the figure, it looks really good. The red spider on the back looks good. The calves look really good. The feet look really good. The hands, everything about it is awesome. The articulation is fantastic. While we're zoomed in, I want to show you something that's very important too when it comes to his head articulation. So looking at the back, you can see there's a big cut right there on the back of his neck. So you can move that head even further back to get that crazy motion in the head. So it's using that dumbbell joint that we see with some of the newer figures that Marvel Legends has been doing. So it gives it a more natural movement to the head. I get that. But you know, it's just not what we're used to. But here it works out really well because they put that cut on the back of the neck so you can get that head really far back, whereas normally you wouldn't be able to get that, but that is perfect for a Spider-Man figure. So that works out quite well, and then looking down is not a problem. So there he is. But the articulation, man, it is just crazy. So let's go check that out right now. Okay, actually, before we move on, I want to see if this old Peter Parker head from the Mary Jane 2-pack Toys R Us exclusive will fit on this new Spider-Man figure. I know we're getting a new Peter Parker head with a figure later in this wave. I haven't opened that yet, so we shall see. But let's see if this Peter Parker head that we already previously have will work, and yes, it does fit on there. However, when you compare it to like the masked version, it doesn't really look realistic that his head would be in there, but it is what it is. It is comic book stuff after all, so that works out quite well. So Peter Parker head fits. Okay, so Spider-Man's articulation, you guys kind of saw a little bit of the neck, so he can look down, he can look up. You get all kinds of pivot, all kinds of movement in the head. It is fantastic. You can get the shoulder to go up that high, which is really good. And of course, you get a full rotation there. There is the upper bicep swivel there. You get a double jointed elbow, which works fairly well. You're only going to get just about 90 degrees in there because his biceps are a little bit bigger. And then we have the butterfly joint, which works out really well. So you can get the crossbody going that way, and then you can get it to go back quite far as well. So that is really good. So the updated articulation. So the upper torso is on a diaphragm joint, so you can get tilt going that way. You can get tilt going that way. You can get it to go back like so, and that's just the diaphragm joint. You can get it to go forward like so. There is no waist swivel on this guy, so the twist is all in that diaphragm joint. And then we get the lower ab crunch, so you can get him to crunch forward that much at its furthest. You get him to go back that much at its furthest. So great range of motion going on there. Legs, you can do the splits that far. It also has the drop down feature that like Beast had, so you can bring the hips down a little bit like so, and then they just kind of move up when you go to do the split. So that doesn't actually help out the splits, but it helps out when kicking the leg up. So you can get the leg to go up that high, which is awesome. You can even get it to go out, so you get all kinds of range of motion going on with those legs. You get an upper thigh cut there, double jointed knee, which works well. You have a calf swivel right at the top of the calf, foot hinges all the way down, hinges up somewhat, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So super articulated, even more so compared to normal Spider-Man figures. And speaking of comparison to Spider-Man figures, let's do that now. Before we get into the side-by-side comparisons, I just wanted to show you just all the kind of crazy poses that you could really get this figure into, because that way the new ab crunch and diaphragm joint, the way these the legs move with the drop down hips, there's just all kinds of things that you could really do with this figure. It is just freaking awesome what you can do. Not that I'm the best at posing figures, because I'm absolutely not, but just know that, you know, depending whatever you want to do, you could really get this figure into all kinds of crazy motion doing stuff like that. So it is just really awesome. Okay, here are a few different Spider-Mans together. So we have the Raft Spidey from the Raft San Diego Comic-Con exclusive set, Pizza Spider-Man, and the Gamerverse Spider-Man. I really wanted to bring the Gamerverse Spider-Man to show you kind of the bulk size. So this one actually are a lot of the same parts. So like the legs are all the same in the Gamerverse Spider-Man figure. The arms are actually the same as well. It's just going to be the torso and everything that's different on this new one. That's the big difference. Somebody wanted to see a head swap, if this big fat head could fit onto this Spider-Man, and I guess I'll do that real quick. Somebody wanted to see it. I'm not sure why change it up when we have something that's so nice. The reds don't match, it's big, and doesn't go on all the way, so that's all we're going to do that. But while I'm at it, let's put the other Spider-Man head on there with the slightly more squinted eyes, and you can see there. Color wise, you can see that it is different from all of them. I didn't bring out the Vintage Wave one because that's going to be similar, but it's going to have an even brighter, kind of a more pale blue. It's still definitely not going to be the same as this one. This new one definitely is my favorite so far, because it definitely has kind of a better look. That I would say the blue isn't so bright, the red isn't so shiny. Whereas on both of those, red was a little bit shinier. So all around, this new Spider-Man figure just wins just everywhere. Now I know people are going to be disappointed that there's no wall crawling hands, so what I did do is the Pizza Spider-Man, I pulled off one of the web crawling hands, and you can see the way that peg is, and I pulled off the thwip hand to see if we can do it, and so far we know that these pegs are very, very different. So is it going to work? It is not. I already tried it earlier. That does not work. It's going to look like that. So maybe you can fudge it in certain angles and things like that, but otherwise it just doesn't really work. The red's not too far off. It can work if it's kind of hidden well, but just know that it is not a complete match. And then while we're at it, we'll put the fist on there, and it looks like so. So there are the Spider-Man figures. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of this new one. Be patient, it will come. It expected around September. You might see it as early sometime in August, maybe mid to late August. You know how easy it's going to be to find. I'm not really sure, you know, how easy was the retro X-Men wave to find? Hardly showed up anywhere in my area. Never at Walmart. Target got some, didn't get a whole lot. So it's just one of those things, you know, pre-ordering is definitely the best way to do it to make sure that you're securing a set for yourself. You know, Amazon, Entertainment Earth, wherever it might be. I highly recommend doing it that way because who knows where these things will show up. We really don't. But the Spider-Man figure is absolutely worth picking up. He is fantastic. You guys let me know down in the comments below again what you think of it. If you guys liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.